What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. More Halo Wars 2 action. Mission 6, Lights Out, for the Halo Wars 2 campaign on our Legendary walkthrough. So we're going to jump into this. I will say this up front, another pretty tough mission. So these missions seem to be kind of escalating in difficulty as we move through. And this one's pretty tough. Again, we're going to have a lot of kind of base setup, getting things going here at the beginning. So just trying to get this whole thing set. So as we jump into the mission, it is pretty nice. We get a decent little group to start here. We're going to see we move forward just a little bit. Douglas is finally going to come back and help us out, grab a Wraith for us, which is super helpful. So as we kind of just roll through this first portion, again with this mission, this is another mission just kind of like Mission 5, where I found having a high population cap, getting yourself set up to start was really beneficial. Now, they make this kind of a tougher mission to do that in. I definitely recommend one of your optional objectives is to rescue the 10 different groups across the map, getting them, and you're trying to keep them alive. You're not going to keep them alive, at least I didn't. Here's the first one though, which I guess you can kind of skip by if you're not paying attention. Just make sure you grab these guys, because honestly you're going to need them. You know, the population cap and the units is going to be what you want to use, what you want to focus your base build on when you do get your base. But again, like I said, they make it tough at the outset of this mission because they throw some pretty good stuff at you that ends up dealing you quite a bit of damage and making it pretty tough, honestly, to get yourself set up. There's a lot of harassment attacks. There's a lot of stuff. You're going to lose a lot of units. I don't think end up losing a piece of the base, maybe a turret, but honestly it's just one of those things. It's just tough to get yourself set, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're kind of rolling through. And again, this first portion, just make sure you grab those guys. The Cyclops and stuff will help you out. Use your leader powers wisely. I recommend obviously restoration drones is big here, and you probably I think this is a good move here to kind of keep things healed up. I think I probably could have did it a little bit sooner to maybe save 1 or 2 units. But just keep in mind you do have those leader powers from the outset, and you will have the supplies available to do that. But again, yeah, so I do want to talk overall as we kind of again roll through this a little bit. I do want to talk general strategy for this mission. Outside of just building up your full army and getting things upgraded. I ran kind of a multi-suite of units again, try to be balanced as much as I can, but I'm a big fan of the Hornets. Even in this mission where you see the Reavers for the first time, and they do a lot of damage to your air units, I still favor them just because they're a great all-around utility unit, and they take out pretty well some of the stuff that you end up having to deal with pretty well, to be honest with you. Minus the Reavers, they still stand their own. They're just kind of soft to them, which obviously is understandable. That's their counter unit. But I do end up working a lot of Hornets. I will work Cyclops in this one, as well as Marines. You do have the ODST drop available for you in this one, which is extremely nice. We skipped there a little bit. Again, just trying to cut out the cutscenes, trying to make these a little bit more concise, because I know a lot of you don't want to watch me play through the entire thing. So I'm going to kind of fast forward when I can here, while still also providing as best I can an in-depth walkthrough for those that are honestly that are having some trouble. And I did. This mission, these missions, they're getting tough. As I expect, it is legendary difficulty. Here you really kind of face your first set of Reavers, which you're not supposed to take a Hornet casualty. That's another one of your optional objectives. Honestly, guys, that's going to be near impossible unless you don't use the Hornets at all, which I think if you go that route, you're doing yourself a disservice because they are so good against a lot of the units. Now here, you've seen me kind of target now 2 times in a row, targeting the actual panel, whatever you want to call it, that needs to be destroyed. That's a huge help. It's an optional objective to not let them bring any reinforcements in through those things once you get to the portals, and you do that by destroying those satellite dish looking things. do that as much as you can, as best you can. I think the only one I don't get it on is the final one that's behind the Banish base, which again, the Banish bases are extremely difficult to fight. So do that as much as you can, because again, it just eliminates some of the units that they're bringing in. You see me, I use that leader power there for the veteran status. I definitely recommend that because some of your units will be able to hopefully gain some veteran status, at least for a little bit during this mission. And then honestly, a lot of them are also going to get destroyed, and you're going to crank out quite a bit of units if you end up having the same difficulties as I did. I'm just kind of scoping out here, just kind of want to see again, trying to familiarize myself. And here we go. We're just going to fast forward through this base build. Again, I end up doing 2 generators, 2 supply pads. I do the armory up front to increase that energy that I'm having. I'm going to do a barracks and then also do an air pad, and that's going to be the setup for this. And again, I screw myself a little bit here because I really didn't think we were going to take much from the beginning, but you're going to see they harass pretty well with these Banshees. He just dropped in 2 leader powers on me right there, and they honestly pretty much decimate the force that I had going. So here again, I'm just trying to get everything set up. I'm trying to get the population cap. That's the first upgrade that I really want to do. Trying to get that all set up, letting my supplies build up, just kind of letting everything go. Honestly, you're probably not going to make the part-time in this one. So again, you shouldn't be, in my opinion, shouldn't be trying to go for golds. If you are, it's pretty tough. I do call on those ODSTs because again, they're going to bring units from the front. They're going to bring Banshees from kind of that bottom left-hand side. And so they are going to do some good harassment. Once you're done with the armory, again, you can destroy it, and I end up putting a garage right there. I am going to make just a few Wolverines, but that's more so not to help me throughout this mission. It's honestly just going to be there to help me defend this base, because you're going to see Banshees come in pretty consistently. Quite a bit. They will continue to harass this base. You can set up your turrets. I think I end up eventually setting the 2 turrets in the back up to anti-air. I sent one of the front turrets to anti-infantry and the other to anti-vehicle, because that's primarily what you'll see coming up front. Is a little bit of vehicles, a little bit of infantry. But at this point, again, got the population cap up to 100. That's as hard as it's going to go for this mission. I'm upgrading Marines because I know I'm going to crank some of those out. And then I'm just really setting up Cyclops and Airpad. You'll see me go back and forth. And then also just getting their upgrades as well. Make sure you're getting the air units. As we talked about in Mission 5, you're really starting to see the capability to get your units more damage, more health. So that's always good to do. Just get yourself fully set here. Get your army set up. Again, a couple Wolverines there to help defend. I mean, as you guys can see, I called in 2 plus the turrets in the back, and they still got destroyed. So at this point, I'm taking all of it, and we'll kind of hop back into this mission and get them going. And again, just manage your army, manage your forces, manage everything. The nice thing is here, if you wanted to push this a little bit more forward, you could. But I think as soon as I try to move these guys in to take this power generator here, I think I end up getting attacked, or it's very close to it. Maybe not actually. Nope, yeah, there we go. Jump pack brutes, just like I thought. So I was going to say you could try to push forward a little bit, but honestly I think you just do a base defense. Maybe if you get a decent amount of Hornets up first, you could do that, and then maybe try to grab that power core for yourself. But again, you're going to see right there, I'm taking quite a bit of hits, and there's quite a bit of units. I don't know why everybody didn't go through the portal the first time. So just that's the other probably frustrating portion for this mission for me, is that's how you have to travel instead of keeping your group together. You got to move them through the portals. But it is what it is. Nice little defense here. The nice thing is it's the small sections in this map that aren't too difficult. You can see me keying in, moving everybody in, and at this point, this is an archer missile strike that I love to do. You're going to get a couple of units here. You're going to be able to hit this satellite dish thingy here, and end up destroying 3 of them. As they call it, the teleporter hacking device. That's the 3rd one of 4 that you need to destroy, again, before reinforcements come in. So there's quite a few units there, as you saw, but just make sure you're focusing and you take that thing out just to make this fight easier. The other thing that makes this little fight a little bit tougher, again, leader powers. They spam them. That's what makes, honestly, again, in my opinion, Legendary difficult. But you do have the two little banished mini bases here as well, which can provide you some good, additional resources, some good capability to build some units. But they will also spawn their units out of them for the first little bit when you get in here. But honestly, up until this portion, minus having to defend this base, not really too much difficulty, and not really too bad as long as you're just being smart and again trying to keep a good force and getting the majority of your population cap up and ready to go before you make big moves. I make one huge error in my opinion, one absolutely huge error, and it's going to happen here pretty soon. And as much as you guys can, don't do what I end up doing here and avoid this piece. So you'll get attacked a little bit. Honestly, I think this is the only set of units that come. I do garrison up, I think 2 ODSTs or 2 groups of infantry at least, just to set up and just to get them in there. I do ODSTs. They will defend, but again, I don't think you see anything else come from this direction. But not a bad idea to put those units in there, especially if you can spare them. Here's where I start to the beginning of the downfall for my mistake, to be honest. Again, I hate these portals. I hate that you have to move units from one to the other at this point to get them set up. I do make a generator supply pad here. You probably could do 2 supply pads at this point. I think you have enough. I think you have enough energy at this point with what you're cranking out, and you really just probably need supplies. So I would make that change. Just make those 2 supply pads right here for these mini bases. Again, you can bolster these up. I do, but I think they end up being alright even with just putting a single unit in there. But not a bad idea just to keep them safe. Again, make this a supply pad, don't make that a generator. Definitely power these up, plenty of energy for you. And here you go, here's where I move forward and I end up making the gravest mistake probably out of this entire mission. So I'm moving these guys forward. I want to get to the second base. I want to get it built up. I want to get it ready to go. I drop the fire base in. I'm happy with that. I think everything's going peachy. I'm looking at doing a restoration drone. I'm like, yeah, I'll heal everybody up. I'll drop this here. And what do I end up doing? The Spartan runs forward and ends up triggering the fight. So there's a little cutscene there. Decimus again harassing you. And I end up triggering this huge fight that I am honestly not 100% ready for. So I'm trying to defend. I've got plenty of Hornets. I've got plenty of everything. I end up actually smashing and trying to get all my units forward, which is why you see I lose the optional objective of not losing any units to the glassing beam, because they'll take a straight line path and just run across the map, and they end up getting just absolutely obliterated. At this point, the base isn't set up, so I can't reinforce these guys. I'm still waiting on this other secondary base to even spawn in. My Hornets and my forces are doing a decent job, but that base right there is not set up at all. So I recommend bring your units in. When you see that base plot that you can take, move your units behind it. Move them the opposite direction of the way I went, and it's going to allow you to do 2 things. It's going to allow you to take a few minutes, get that base built up, get what you want on it, which my base build for this one ends up being very similar to the one that we started with. Essentially, you're just making the capability to build the same units. So you're going to do a barracks and air pad, and then I think, a bunch of supply depots just to get things going. And honestly, you can do this a little bit faster. Once that base is set up, you can end up destroying some of those buildings that you had on the first base, turn them into just supply pads so you can crank supplies. Maybe leave one air pad back there or the garage back there for Wolverines, because you will still get harassed from that. So again, here we're just fast forwarding through, but we're building up the base. The turrets in the back I don't think you need. The turrets in the front are helpful, but again, they won't push forward. Those units at the banished base won't push forward unless you push to them. So don't make that mistake. You see me destroying a few things like I recommended here, just to get some more supplies all set up, because supplies is what you need. So take the time, build up the second base before you push forward like I am right now. And again, you see a pretty good smattering of units that they have here. They'll be able to create tanks, they're going to be able to create infantry. That's why I'm a big fan of the Hornets here, because honestly they do very well. They can't get touched by the hunters that you'll see end up taking out a lot of stuff. And they do a pretty decent job, especially if you've got a large group of them like I do here. of knocking these defense turrets down as well. Now that right there, I know as we kind of jump back and forth to all of the bases, this right here is the one hacking device that I don't get to before it spawns in. Again, if you push too far forward on this base, on the banished base, they will start to spawn in things from the portal as they do right here. Honestly, it's tough. This one's really probably the toughest one to get to because it's not near the portal. The hacking device is actually over kind of to the right hand side over here, so you have to essentially move entirely past the base in order to get to it. I do prioritize it right here, especially with Hornets. They can kind of make a beeline right over the base, which isn't terrible, but that's a tough one to get to. So just keep that in mind, and again, they're going to continue to spawn units at you. And this base is really tough, so I try to take down the turrets. Again, I'm just trying to spawn in Cyclops and Hornets at this point to really try to take care of a lot of the units that are down here. Cyclops obviously do really well against your Wraiths and some of the other vehicles they have. Your Hornets, again, they hold their own against a lot of the infantry as well as a lot of the armor that gets brought in. So that's the unit that I'm making, and that's how I'm building this up. And plus, it is nice. Again, Hornets only work off of needing supplies, so that makes your consumption of energy really low, so you can use your leader powers, and also allows you kind of a more focused build. So here again, that standard base, your first base is going to continue to get harassed. I actually end up losing the first base right at the very end of this mission, or almost lose it. I think it has like no buildings left. And here's another recommendation: because this base will continue to spawn units for the banished, take out some of their capabilities to produce units. I'd rather just see infantry units at this point than a bunch of armor units or hunters or anything else. So I just kind of move around, take out some of their side things that allow them to create more specialized units, and then as you're continuing to destroy this base and attack the infantry, honestly that's what I want all these Hornets shooting. But you can see this just massive Hornets that I have is doing quite a nice job of taking this stuff out. Now the Hornets, as you see there, they're a little bit weak to the leader powers, especially the glassing beam and that little siphon ability that reduces their armor. And I lose a lot right there because I get glassed, which is like the worst leader power to be used against you ever, and super frustrating. But again, that's what makes this legendary. As you see, I have a huge force, and he just glassed, and I lost a lot of them. So I do a lot of base movement here, a lot of jumping back and forth, just because, again, the base destruction seems to be my Achilles heel, and one of the tougher things that I end up facing in these legendary difficulties. Now again, so once you take that out, they won't rebuild it. You can't build on that base plot. It doesn't give you the option to. So at this point, you're relatively well set. So again, you can rebuild your army. You can get things going. Again, don't make that mistake. Keep your units back. Build that base up first. That way, when you push that initial wave in, you can fight those units. You got your leader powers ready to go. You can archer missile, and then instantly you can start pumping out units and kind of keep the pressure on. If you're able to do that, I don't think you'll have as tough of a time with that banished base that I did. But because my second base wasn't set up, wasn't ready for it, that's where I think I ran into the biggest issues. So here I am going to defend. I don't think anything ever ends up attacking this base, so you could probably avoid those turrets altogether. Although the cautious side of me would say, if you got the supplies, just build them up. And here is probably another one of my best tips for this map. The reinforcement way, or the reinforcements that you'll end up freeing, they will count against your population cap. However, if you're already at population cap, the game can't not give you these units. So take the time, build up a good force. Again, defend your first base, because they're going to try to destroy it as best they can. But build up your force, get as close to your population cap as you can. You see, I'm sitting at 98 out of 100 before you move in for this. And then once you move in, clear this entire area out of enemies. And then once you do that, make sure you're still, again, at your population cap, and then release everybody. Because what that will allow you to do, actually, is go above your population cap by quite a bit. I end up messing this up a little bit because I lose, again, some units to these freaking leader powers that always seem to destroy everything, and I accidentally end up releasing one of the sets of prisoners before I end up queuing up the rest of the population. And that's another important distinction. As long as the population is queued up and counted for, you will be alright. The units don't actually have to be spawned in. So you're going to see me do a little bit of it here. I'm going to queue it back. I'm going to get a few more. I'm going to get a few more from the air pad. So I'm at the max at this point, but I think I end up losing one or two, and then of course he glassing beams again. The fact of how fast they can spawn these leader powers in sometimes is a little frustrating. And again, I'm sitting at 78, and then I go immediately from 78 to 84. So I screwed it up a little bit. Again, before you release any prisoners, just make sure you're at least queued up to 100% for your population cap, and then release those prisoners. And I think I end up releasing two groups here at the full queue for population cap, and I think I go up to about 112. I think that might be exactly what I end up going up to, or 114. I'm not sure. 114. So as again you can see, kind of a cheeky way to get more population cap, but it does work 100%. Once you release those guys, just again make sure you're fully set up. If you've got a full army, I definitely recommend at this point use your leader powers, let them all heal up, use restoration drones, and just get everything set as well as you can before you make this final fight. You can grab that power cord. Honestly, at this point it's probably not helping you because you've got multiple bases set up. And again, my set here ends up being a few Cyclops, mostly Hornets, and then obviously your Spartans and just a few Marines, just to take into this final fight. Now the final fight I didn't think was too difficult, mostly because you have ODSTs, to be honest, and you can build the turret plots. Those are the two biggest tips I have for the final fight. Kind of take the pathing I do. That's my recommendation. Take the pathing I do that I'll show you here in a second, and move those units smartly, and use those turret plots. Build on those things even if they're not sticking around, because enemy AI, I've seen throughout the course of playing this a few times, enemy AI will always focus on those turrets before really they focus on any of your units, which is a great distraction for you. So again, you can see what we got keyed up here. Both the Spartans, couple Marines, couple Cyclops. We've gotten a couple Hellbringers at this point, and I think we're sitting at 13 Hornets right there. So a pretty good force to bring in. Honestly, the Hornets, in my opinion, again, MVPs of this map. Really, really strong, and just in those huge, massive forces, they do a great amount of damage. Now, again, I recommend maybe making this heal before I did, but you can do it right here. When you come to this final portion, you swing to the right-hand side. Again, you'll get these jump pack brutes which spawn in and absolutely get crushed just by the sheer number of everything fighting them, which is really awesome to see. And one of the few fights that I end up making without losing anything. You have some elites here that, for whatever reason, nobody targets. I'm like trying to click on them, nobody wants to hit them, and then the Hornets just go to work and absolutely decimate them. But this is the path I would take because you're going to be able to take out a few units, be able to take down a Reaver. That would probably be pretty harassing if you move right up front. You dodge a few turrets, just coming straight up the middle. But this turret right here is the first one that you're going to be able to destroy and then build on. So I focus on it, I destroy, I start to move these guys forward. Again, trying to take these turrets out here, and boom, I build that turret, and what do those two Banshees do? Look at, well, one of them at least makes the turn and focuses on it. So again, kind of just allows you to play a little bit of distraction, and it will take, if they only have 1 or 2 units fighting those things, it'll take them some time to knock the turrets out. Again, so I'm focusing on the turrets, I'm trying to get everything built up here. Look at, got these 4 units that are sitting there, they destroy it, and I'm just going to go ahead and build it right back. Do the same thing over here. I'm going to let my units kind of do their thing. I seem to see a lot of the reinforcement come from the left side portal instead of the right side, so I kind of try to position my units just a little bit farther over that way. But again, here, with all the Hornets that we have and the capability that we got, we're able to destroy that hacking device pretty well. So that shuts down the portals for reinforcements, which is really nice. You get a little cutscene, which we skip through. Decimus will spawn in, and just like you did earlier, this is the same Decimus fight. The nice thing again, having these turrets here, he will actually start to focus on them, and so it just gives you a little bit more capability, and you end up probably keeping some more units alive over the course of it. Now this fight is a little bit longer. He will take some damage. I recommend you have to micromanage him because he will start to regenerate shield, as you saw there. So if you are able to queue in on him as soon as he becomes available to attack, you'll actually end up saving yourself a little bit here because you'll be able to take the shield out from him without letting it fully recharge, which really shortens this boss fight. Now he does a great amount of damage with the blast. You can see here again, he tries to get a little bit of shield back. We're doing damage to him, so we end up taking the shield out. He continues to focus on this turret, it looks like, which is really awesome, so I'm able to keep a lot of units up. The turrets over here that are actually already spawned in, they're going to be able to do some damage for you, which is really nice. Again, he focuses on that turret, so that one's just going to keep continuing to get hurt. I end up trying to drop this on him, which I thought was going to be helpful, but you can't kill him at this point. I'm trying desperately, but essentially he gets his shield back and then he does his little hop away, where then this is where I lose 90% of the units. These are really hard to dodge. I didn't think they were hard to dodge on the easier difficulty. On this difficulty, either I'm really bad, which I probably am, or these things just spawn in a lot faster. I'm trying to be kind of cheeky and do like some zigzag moves here, but multiple times because of the big group I have, I end up just running into these things. And I don't want to get too far away from him because I don't want him to like get healed, and I can't remember exactly when he's able to come back in. So it's at this point that I've lost some units. I'm down to 81 population cap. I go ahead and drop those ODSTs in. He'll jump back in pretty much to the center of your group, and then at this point it's on. I'm going to use the restoration drones. He pulls a couple of units in. He does get these really annoying engineers, so you got to focus on those guys. And look at how, man, they heal him so fast. It's absolutely crazy how fast they end up getting him healed. The nice thing though is once you kill the one, it looks like this other one kind of runs away. I probably focused on him too long, and at this point I do a decent little move to get out of the ring here, and after this one he should go down, which I believe. So again, you got to focus on that engineer, but honestly this boss fight's not too difficult, minus the engineers and minus those stupid glassing beams that come in and shred a lot of my troops. But again, biggest key here, don't let that shield reheal, and you'll end up making this fight a lot faster for yourselves, which is really nice. And right here, as you can see, I'm losing this base. I was not paying attention at all. Luckily this mission ends here in just a second. Once you kill him, you don't really have to do much else, and we'll finish up the mission. So we end up finishing up here. Again, not too terrible. It is a difficult mission. End up getting a silver medal, so not terrible. Definitely over the par time by about 15 minutes, but again, that's just because of the base setup, and honestly because I had that big mistake where my units pushed too far forward. If you can avoid that, I still recommend taking the time, build your base up, get your full population cap going, and the rest of it is just going to be managing your army and just really just continuing to produce units. Hornets, again, my biggest recommendation here. So after that, you shouldn't have too much difficulty, and just be smart with your leader powers. So we'll wrap it up here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that walkthrough. Hopefully, again, you'll learn from my mistakes on this one and not repeat my silliness. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got the rest of the missions coming up here very soon. Plenty of other stuff, Halo Wars 2 related, on the channel. I've been Doc with The Average Gamer, guys. Thank you so much for checking this out. We'll check you next time.